And using the cloth, gradually work it down so it coats in the oil. Turn it as it goes so it picks up all the dirt from inside the barrel, and as you can see it comes popping out the other side, and it's collected all the muck and all the dirt from inside my barrel. Now my barrel was clean, believe it or not, my barrel was clean. Just using a slight blast of the Ballistol oil removes all the build-up of lead and all the build-up of dirt that might get inside your barrel after prolonged use. I have shot, I say, about 40-50 pellets today while we've been out walking around the fields.
Right, can we just pull that out, Richard, so we can see, so that it's away from the actual black of the end and see? Good Lord, that has taken a lot off, hasn't it?
That's removed all the rubbish that was inside the barrel.
How many pellets do you think that's?
I thought my barrel was clean. I did this about a fortnight ago. Obviously, the more pellets that you use, the faster the build-up will occur inside your barrel.
So are you saying that you're fairly surprised that it's come out that dirty? Because I was
very surprised that it's come out that dirty, in fact. And I must admit, that shocked even me. To see that much come out of the inside of this barrel, that's pretty amazing. So now what we'll do, we'll wipe off the end. We'll take the pull-through end off, if I can. There we go. And then we're just going to add a little bit more of the pull-through material, just to give it one last clean through. Clean it off first, make sure that you've got no of the residue left on there. Then using another little bit, do the same again. Cut yourself a little piece off, twist it round so you can get it into the end of the pull through, like threading a needle. Stick that through the end, bunch it down and give it a twist so it stays on the end of your pull through. And you now know that everything that's inside your barrel, you've got the oil inside your barrel waiting as it's doing its work, removing all the residues and all the rubbish from the inside of the barrel. And once again, all I'm going to do is very carefully pull that so it goes back up inside the barrel and twist. And as you twist, it picks up all the rubbish that's stuck inside there, and as you bring it out, as you can see, it's now nice and clean.
Right,
so you saw how dirty it was when I put it down. That removed all the rubbish and all the residue from the riflings, from down the inside of the barrel. And now that I've pulled it back through with a clean piece of the toe, you can now see that all the dirt, except for a few little spots,
it's gone.
Is completely
on
gone.
One pull?
On one pull.
Would you expect that from any other oils?
No. No. No.
Definitely not.
Even some of the better oils that are known, the big brand oils, they leave a residue inside your barrel. So even though you pulled it through, you clean it all out, it's nice and spotless, the very second that you put a lead pellet back into your rifle and fire it, as it runs down the riflings, you will find that the oil burns off and it leaves a tar-like substance stuck into the grooves of the riflings. That is not a bad thing. Most people will say that you need to have a build-up of lead in order for your rifle to shoot straight. I, on the other hand, like to know that I've got a nice, perfectly clean barrel, that I know that when I go out there it's not going to jam, it's not going to stick. I'm going to get concise, precise shots every time. I don't want to be thinking, right, my barrel's a bit dirty, I might get a bit of left or right hand deviation. Doing it like this with the Ballistol product, it's a natural, or it's made from natural oils and oleums and medical oils. It is designed for any application. I find it absolutely brilliant on my rifle. As you can see, the sheen from my rifle is absolutely brilliant. And when you do a test like that and you stick it down the barrel of your rifle, and you can see that how much rubbish comes off when you put it down the barrel and how much it actually removes as you draw the toe back out, we'll just do a quick comparison from before and after. That's when it went through.
It was first pulled down through, wasn't it?
That was the push through.
Push through, sorry, yeah.
And that
is the pull,
out.
So that's taken
all the rubbish off. There was still oil, you can still feel the oil, you can still see the oil in the toe. It's absorbed all the oil, all the excess oil that was inside the barrel, but that's the state as it's gone down and pushed all the rubbish out, and then bringing it back up, following the twist of the riflings inside the barrel. There's hardly anything left in there for the reverse toe to actually pull out.
So anything that is left there, when you put a pellet down through the gun and you shoot a pellet through there, you shouldn't get any smoking.
We'll give that a quick try. Shouldn't be any smoking. There may be, if there's a little bit of residue down there, we may get a little bit of smoking. This may be loud because there's no silencer on the end of the barrel, as I've removed the silencer from the end. And what I'll do, I'll just point it down at the ground. Safety always.
See if I can get that in there, Rich. Right.
And we just pull the trigger. There was a little blast of excess oil that came out the end, but as you can see, there's no smoking. No smoking at all.
I can't even smell.
No.
I can't smell anything.
No. There's no dieseling from the rifle. Nothing like that. And then, just to make sure that everything's nice and clean, one quick shot on the end of the silencer threads and reattach the silencer onto the end of the rifle. Doesn't matter that you've got oil all over your fingers, just give it one nice quick clamp up, give it a wipe over with your hand, because your hand's now completely covered in oil, re-lubricating, and then one more with the silencer on. Just one quick fire down at the ground. Difference in noise, no smoke. Unlike most of the gun oils that you will have used, you will find that you do get a fair amount of smoking from these products. It's as it's burning off, it's called dieseling. And as it's burning off from the inside of the riflings, and it's also burning off from inside the compression chamber and through the transfer port into your barrel, you do get a build-up of smoke as the pellet leaves the rifle itself. With this product, however, you don't get any smoking. You've seen that, that's the ultimate test. Ballistol oil pen. This is a brilliant product. When you finish with it, you don't throw it away. You can refill these quite easily and simply by unscrewing the cap, removing the little plastic bit at the top that's got a little springy thing inside it that dispenses the oil onto the nib, and using the Ballistol Universal that comes in a bottle. There we are. You can refill the pen, as well as the other multitude of uses that you can get from the oil itself. I do believe that Mr. Brown here takes the Ballistol in the morning for indigestion remedy. Right, now what we're going to attempt to do here is, if you remove the nib from the end of the pen, you can see that it's like a marker pen nib. You've got a round end and a round end. Now what you can do is, using a sharp knife, you should be able to shave off a little bit of the nib and make it into a point, like so, for those incredibly hard to reach places that you need to dispense your oil. So now what you've got, in essence, is a marker tip and a pencil tip. Marker tip being used for oil dispensing on your larger jobs, such as the Allen key holes on the top of your scope. Using the oil, just give it a quick depress, the oil comes into the nib, wipe it round, 2 or 3, and you can see that the oil is actually welling up inside the Allen key head, thus preventing water build-up. End result, no rust. So then, when you've finished with that end, rotate it round and you have a nice thin end. So if you just wanted to apply a small amount of oil just to keep the water out of the turrets, just a little dab on the top of there and give it a wipe around. That will prevent water from creeping in, water from seeping in. It will also help with the threads for your turret caps. Just give it a little wipe round, same as inside your turret. Drop, and because you've now got a fine tip, you can actually push the oil right into the threads. Therefore, when you reattach the turret cover, it goes on much easier, and you're certain in the knowledge that no water, no moisture is going to actually build up inside the turret covers themselves. This item can be used on absolutely anything where you need a direct application of oil, where you don't want a blanket screen of oil, you don't want to coat everything that you've got with oil. Anything like nuts, bolts, threads, anything that needs to be protected from the elements, one quick push and wipe it round. Because of the viscosity of the oil, it will creep into all the little nooks and crannies. Doesn't matter how much you put on. Leave it for a couple of minutes, and then using your microfiber cloth, wipe away what you don't want, wipe it on the rest of your rifle. One product doing the jobs of many other rifle products, being the Ballistol Universal. Right, next up is the Gun X 2000. This oil does pretty much what the Ballistol Universal oil does, but this is more designed for your rifles. It's a little bit thicker than the Universal. I use this for other bits on my rifle that I know are going to get quite a lot of hammer, quite a lot of use, such as where the block is just there. Inside there are 2 little metal shims that will get dirty, they will accumulate dust particles, dirt, and with one spray of this just at the top, and then you just allow it to creep. Only takes a couple of seconds, and then you just move it up so it works where it needs to work, and it creates a barrier for the steel to move freely, so it's not catching on anything. That's that side done. Same again with the other side. Just one quick spray, and we'll let that work its way in a little bit. You can see how it starts to run down, and then as soon as it's in, you just lift up the barrel and let the barrel fall under its own weight. So you now know that the shims that are inside there are completely oiled up, completely protected from any moisture, any dust build up, any particle build up, anything like that. That's all done. Moving back to just another quick, you've got the slide and guide which compresses your spring inside. Every moving part needs to have a drop of oil, so just one short little blast on there. Because we don't want the oil running all over his hands, etc. One wipe, and just wipe it away from the outside and wipe everything over. As I said, it does exactly the same job as what the Ballistol Universal oil does. Just that this is a little bit thicker. The same creep performance as the Ballistol Universal does, but this is slightly thicker. And now you can see that when I move the barrel up and down, you can see that the block is now coated with oil, so everything that's in there has now got a nice coating of oil. One of the other areas that I do use it quite a lot is on the trigger mechanism. Because of its creep value, one quick spray just inside there onto the adjusting screw, and it will work its way all the way down right into the trigger block, keeping everything lubricated, keeping it working perfectly, so you know that every time that you pull the trigger, it's not going to stick, it's not going to jam. Giving it a quick wipe over. That's it. That's another part of your rifle, completely lubricated, completely cleaned, ready for your next hunting trip. Right, here we have the gun tech. It will remain exactly where you've put it. You can use this on the mainspring if you've got a pre-charged pneumatic rifle. This won't harm any of the O-rings, any of the seals, anything like that. You can run it through the entire system. It will lubricate the system, keep it free from dust, free from grease build-up, anything like that. Just one drop of this stuff is very, very good. I use this again on the trigger block. If I strip my rifle down, then I'm doing a complete overhaul, and I want to make sure that everything's working very, very nicely. One little drop of this onto the trigger mechanism. Because it's got a nice long nozzle, you can get it right into the trigger block. Just in front of the trigger, one little squeeze, that will run down onto the sear, onto the spring release, the piston release inside. You can use it again to the rear of the trigger, just one small drop, and that will work its way down all through trigger block. It'll coat everything as it goes, keeping everything in tip-top condition, rust-free. The quality of the oil that is used keeps out all the nasties, it keeps out the water, it doesn't resinify, so you don't get a build-up of clumpy oil stuck inside the trigger mechanism, which ultimately you'd have to take the trigger mechanism out, take the trigger block out, clean off all the oil and all the grease that's built up inside there. It's all time consuming. Admittedly, yes, with one product, the Ballistol Universal, you can do all these things with the Ballistol Universal, but for a more intense cleaning and protection of your rifle, these products are second to none. Here is a really, really old German single barrel shotgun. What we're going to do, we're going to give it a quick wipe over. As you can see, there's quite a lot of rust on there. Really, really old, not really being well looked after. I don't think much could bring it up. So what we're going to do first is give it a quick wipe over with the care cloth, just to make it look nice and clean. Hopefully you'll be able to see how much rubbish this care cloth will actually take off. I don't think it's in much of a way of ready to shoot, but once we've given it a good clean up and we've made it look nice and fresh, I don't see any reason why cartridges can't be stuck through it. As you can see, it's already started bringing off some of the rust off the barrel and off the ejection system. Give it a little bit of a wipe through inside there. Right, let's do the pistol grip and the back of the stock to remove all the fingerprints